percent from the floor. The Mavericks did. They shot 52% from the three, and you only won by 7. And you tied your franchise record with made threes.
It's scary, man.
Yeah, when you let the team shoot 58%.
I know it's scary.
They're never going to be out of the game.
To your point, and you made this point from the start, they play little to no defense.
None.
And Luka said after the game, I almost feel like he's toying with this situation. I don't think he loves playing with Kyrie, although he says he does. But he's deferring to a fault to him because he could score the basketball.
Yeah.
And it's tricky because they don't look the same, but they do exactly the same thing. They need to go solo. But if Luka is saying constantly, even though in the end you look at the box score and you say, well, they both took 22 shots.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That'll work. And if you both go over 40 for the first time in Dallas Mavericks history, I covered the Mavericks from their inception for about the first, whatever it was, 10 years. But for two players to go over 40 is spectacular.
Yeah.
It's historic. And yet, to your point, even Luka said after the game, hey, we got no problem on offense, but we got to start to lock down on the defensive end because they don't do anything on the defensive end. Okay?
But Skip, Kyrie is not a defender. Luka's not a defender. Powell is not a defender. You look at the guys that they have, they're not defenders. They're the best perimeter defender. They traded away. I mean, and that's Finney-Smith. But if you look at Josh Green, none of these guys are known for defense. They say, Kleber's back. Man, what's Kleber going to do with Joel Embiid? What's he going to do, Skip, with Jokic? They're not going to do anything to those guys, but they're going to have to sometimes, you're going to have to lock down somebody.
Yeah.
Because everybody in the West, Sacramento can get up and down.
Okay. And here's the weirdest X factor to all this. It's now become Luka, Kyrie, Kyrie, Luka, Luka, Kyrie, Kyrie, Luka, and it's become a two-man team. And I think Christian Wood is really good.
Yes.
And do you remember pre-Kyrie trade?
Yeah.
Christian Wood was spectacular.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a
like
force.
he was like a double-double guy. He was like 17 and 10, I think.
Every night. All of a sudden, since Kyrie walked in the door, 6'2" Kyrie, how tall is Christian Wood? Is he 7 feet?
Probably 6'10" at least.
Yeah, he's 6'11". I think he's up there.
Yeah.
Well, all of a sudden, he got doghouse. He fell. It's almost like he fell completely. Like last night, he managed 14 minutes. He was 3 of 7. But he used to be a force. He used to be the second best player on the team, and now he's an afterthought. Well, it's almost like what happened when Westbrook walked in the door, and Terrence Mann was a starter and an igniter for them, and all of a sudden he's an afterthought. And he ignited it last
night. He tried to, offensive rebound after offensive rebound, tip. He hustle play. But Skip, the thing is, when Kyrie got there, you got another guy that's a volume shooter. So he's going to take where Luka was taking his normal customary shots, and Christian Wood was next in line to take the second most shots.
He was.
Now that's Kyrie.
Yep.
And so you figured something. He's next in line to take probably 12, 13 shots. Kyrie's taking 22. So now his number's going to get even reduced more than that. His minutes are going to get reduced more than that. There's not a whole lot of guys that's going to be scoring 20 points in 14 minutes, Gil.
No, I agree. Luka is doing his damnedest to make this a co-project where he's saying, I'm gonna share shots with you, but in the fourth quarter, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna go out of my way to make sure that you get at least twice as many shots.
Well, you know, Kyrie is leading in fourth quarter scoring.
All right. Well, he should be leading the Mavericks because he's taking.
No, he's leading the entire NBA.
Okay. Well, that's what they're telling Luka, I guess, is it's his time, it's his turn, and we just did the last game where Kyrie missed the three to win the game.
Right.
And the play by Jason Kidd was called clearly for Kyrie, who was at that point 1 of 8 from 3.
But you look at him last night, but it just goes to show you he had 11 points last night in the fourth quarter. He can get as hot as anybody. I mean, and if he gets it going from 3, you're really at his mercy. Because if you hug up on him, he's going to go by you. And he's going to, because he has, Skip, you see the finger roll he had early in the game last night, how he went through him, he cuffed the ball, and then just like, finger rolled it like it's so effortless. He makes it look, he has one of the most beautiful games that you've ever witnessed as far as his package of dribbling the ball.
Totally agree.
He's like, oh my goodness, that's entertaining for me. But Skip, I never had a question or not. When you have 2 great offensive players that can put the ball in the basket like these guys can, I'm not worried about offensively, but who they gonna stop? That's the question. Who they gonna stop? And the thing is, Luka knows they don't play any defense. Skip, the other team shot 58% from the floor.
I'm going to give you this. On their run all the way to a 25-point lead, there's no more exciting duo to watch. There's no more sensational act to watch than these two when they are feeding off each other and they get in a your turn, my turn rhythm.
Yes.
When it gets going, it is. I just sat back and said, my God.
Yeah. It's kind of like last night when in the fourth quarter, Kyrie comes down, hits a 1-on-3 three-pointer, and then Luka comes down the next play and does the exact same thing from a little further on the corner.
Yep.
I was like, what you going to do with that?
Right. And then all of a sudden, Reggie Bullock can just flat out fill it up. And he makes 5 of 10 threes. And it seemed like every time I looked up, when they got tired, when their arms got tired of shooting those two, they'd say, well, maybe it's Reggie. Maybe you can take a turn here. And he'd rip one.
He did. But, Skip, at the end of the day, you're going to have to, Book and KD, somebody's going to have to guard those guys. You're going to have to go through somebody that has skilled offensive players. If you let KD and Book shoot, you let the Suns shoot 58%, they're going to blow you out the bill. You let the Nuggets shoot 58%, you let the Sacramento shoot 58%. With the way those young guys can get up and down, they'll score another 160, 170 points on you.
They will. When I watch KD and Book, even the other night at Charlotte, it's so smooth and effortless that it's not nearly as sensational as this act can be, because it just happens in such rhythm. It's so pure. It looks so that they make it look simple.
Because KD and Book, Skip, are not dribblers with the basketball. KD 1, 2, 3 dribbles, pull up, turn around, one leg fade away, boom. Book 1, 2 dribbles, pull up. Kyrie,
there's no trick shooting.
Yeah, Luka's going to back you down, going to step back. So it's different. It's visibly different to your eyes because they play different styles of different brands of basketball.
Yeah.
But the one thing all 4 guys can do, can put it in the basket. But, man, Skip, can anybody get as hot as Kyrie and Luka?
No. And Luka, half the time he dribbles in the lane, and I say, they got him this time. He's stymied. He's got nowhere to go. And all of a sudden, he figures out some way to snake up underneath, and he's out of rhythm, and he just sort of, he's in the air, and he's not even a jumper. And he makes up a shot on the fly, and he gets it off.
He done split 2 defenders and laid it up in the basket.
And it's an and one.
Yeah.
What?
Or he gets to the basket, Skip, they're like, oh, they got him. And then he kicks to the Bullock in the corner. Or he kicks to somebody in the corner. It's like, they're like, hey, Coach, I don't know. We had him. We had him.
Okay, well, they got me, as in they got me by the eyeballs, as in I'm going to be watching every single dribble. And before Kyrie got there, I could take or leave them.
Right.
They were, Luka's fun to watch.
Yes.
But now, this is a floor show. And yet, in the end, when I say it won't work, well, to your first question, I just think they're going to have a hard time closing games because they've now played, of their 6 games, they blew out San Antonio, and it looked like they were blowing out Philly, and then they didn't.
Right.
So
They was blowing out the Lakers.
They were blowing out the Lakers, and then they didn't. So I'm still not sure about the closing because everything has fallen on Kyrie's shoulders to be hot in the fourth quarter.
Right.
He needs to make 6 out of 8 threes. As he said, Luka had already, he started the party. I joined the party last night.
Right.
Well, are you going to join it every night? Because you better.
Skip, but to your point, the Mavericks allowed Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and James Harden to go 33 of 54, 13 of 21, 12 of 21, 8 of 12, 35, 29, 27. Okay, you let a team have 3 guys with 27 or more points in the playoffs and see what it gets you.
It'll get you home.
Exactly. That's exactly what it'll get you. And you allow him to shoot that kind of percentage. James Harden was 8 of 12. The problem is he didn't shoot enough shots. He was 5 of 7 from 3.
Good point. That's why on the maxi play I showed you, I wanted somebody to shoot a 3 because if you drain a quick 3, now they're really starting to sweat.
They're really up against it. Yep.
Well,
that W, Skip, propelled them into the 6th spot, jumping your Clippers. They are now
my Clippers are in free fall.
No.
We're in the play-in now.
That's where you should be. You're in the basement.
Yeah. Well, we've stumbled backwards down the stairs.